Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Peter Jennings, and I go by CSURAM88 across the daily fantasy industry. And I'm excited to be back again here at FantasyLabs doing a model preview for the wild card weekend at the wide receiver position. Pretty excited for this weekend. Should be a pretty decent slate. Maybe not the best football overall. I think the divisional round is going to be a lot more fun in terms of the games, just with the matchups from a real life standpoint. But I do think there's an opportunity and an edge in the wild card weekend, and I'll talk about that here with the wide receiver position. So let's take a look at the model here that I made. I'm waiting Vegas score a little bit more in this model just to let you guys see kind of what pops up there, but I certainly think it makes sense to really look at the totals like it does every week, but even more so when thinking about roster construction when there's only 4 games is what spots have the potential to shoot out and how can I get exposure to those spots. So then I have opponent rating at 10. I projected points per dollar at 35. Projected plus minus at 30 points. So again, the meat of the model here is in these two sliders. I do have opponent rating a little lower than normal. We know a lot about these teams, and you could certainly weight this higher to see the difference in rating of players. And then just scrolling down, I have market share at 5% as well. So kind of a cash game lineup here, or cash game model, here, looking at some specific plays that might be interesting this week, and I certainly like the list here in terms of who's rating high. And no surprise, it is a cash game model. The chalk is rating really well. Antonio Brown, I'm going to try to jam him in all cash game spots across the industry. I think he's the best overall receiver relative to Jordy Nelson and Odell Beckham, and I'm going to just try to get him everywhere I can. Big Ben at home. I love taking Pittsburgh offense here. They have the highest team total on the slate, and Antonio Brown obviously is the best receiver in football. So I'm gonna try to jam him in, and certainly like the spot here for Brown. The next guy on the list is Doug Baldwin, who certainly makes a lot of sense. If you're going to play a lot of GPPs, I think potentially fading Antonio Brown and going with a more balanced roster might work out. And Doug Baldwin would be a big piece of that for me. I do like him quite a bit this week. Seattle is definitely going to get it done through the air. I don't think they'll be able to run the football well like they haven't all year. And Doug Baldwin now with Lock It Out is certainly the number one option and has been, but I expect him to see quite a bit of volume. So I like Doug Baldwin a lot at 7K. Jordy Nelson's next on the list. I like Jordy a lot. I mean, you can't hate taking any of the Packers receivers in this spot. I do, fear the Giants in terms of their defense, but it's at home here for Aaron Rodgers. He's just been unstoppable, and Jordy Nelson's had an incredible year. I mean, really happy to see him back, and when you're watching him, it just seems like him and Aaron Rodgers are unstoppable when he gets it going. So I do think that he's an interesting play and definitely a lot of touchdown equity. If I'm going to take a Packers receiver, though, in cash, it's going to be Devontae Adams for the savings. Really hard to fit the big Pittsburgh guys, Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, and play, Jordy Nelson as well. So I'm going to be looking to save with Devontae Adams. I think he's going to be a chalky option and definitely a good price, especially coming off a 2-touchdown week in Week 17. Jarvis Landry, sneaky. I definitely like stacking up that game. So I like Jarvis Landry and Kenny Stills, who's next on the list, and certainly don't hate playing them in GPPs. In cash, I'm still not sure who my favorite punt play is. I'll talk a little bit about some of the options, but certainly they are in consideration. I do like Sterling Shepard quite a bit going against these Green Bay corners. He's a great rookie receiver who's scored 8 touchdowns this year. Definitely think he has nice TD upside in this game, and I probably won't have much Odell Beckham, so I will have some shares of Sterling Shepard. Jermaine Kearse next on the list. I actually prefer Richardson behind him for 600 less. I've been considering Richardson quite a bit. Led the team in targets, or was tied for it. It was 7 last week. With Tyler Lockett going out, he's definitely going to fill a big role. He was a star in college at CU as well. Eli Rogers is probably the guy I like most right now. I'm really liking this Pittsburgh passing attack, so I'll probably have a bit of him, and definitely someone I'm considering in cash. I talked about Beckham, and I do like Beckham, but in cash, I'm going to be playing Antonio Brown over Beckham. So he's strictly a tournament-only play for me, and mostly just going to be in game stacks of the Green Bay Giants matchup, but I'm not a huge Odell Beckham fan relative to some of these other guys, even though he is a fantastic receiver. But this week I'm definitely loading up on Antonio Brown. Marvin Jones, Anquan Bolden, the next guys on the list. I'm fine with those guys. Tough going into Seattle. I think I like Ebron and Tate a little bit more, but still need to decipher what Detroit guys I'm going to be heavy on if I'm doing game stacks with Seattle. Amari Cooper, Crabtree, tough to take with Connor Cook at the quarterback position. I'm a huge Amari Cooper fan, but really nervous about this game and don't anticipate having too much ownership in that game. Amari Cooper's price is really cheap, but it's Connor Cook, so I think I have to fade for the most part. Do like Devontae Parker. I love his talent. Again, that's for game stacks and his tournament play. And pretty much everyone else on this list is a tournament play. Same thing with Hopkins. You got Brock now, a whole bunch of stuff going on with the Texans. So I don't hate going him and Fuller, but I just don't see how that game shoots out. And that's a big reason they aren't rating as well. One guy to keep an eye on is Geronimo Allison. He'll be very popular, but you'll have to pay attention to the Randall Cobb news. So with that, hope this was helpful for you guys. Again, I'm Peter Jennings. I go by CSURAM88 across the industry. Recording this here on Wednesday, so my opinions could change on this, but hope this was helpful and hope it was something you can leverage when you're looking at the player models here on FantasyLabs, and of course looking to see more FantasyLabs subscribers at the top of the leaderboard.